What if I told you that readiness is a feeling you'll never have? That you're literally wired not to feel ready before doing something new? Think about it. Every major milestone in your life happened when you weren't ready. You weren't ready to be born. You weren't ready for your first day of school. You weren't ready for heartbreak. You weren't ready for responsibility. But you survived all of it. You adapted. You figured it out. So why are you waiting to feel ready now? Because here's the truth nobody's telling you. Readiness isn't a prerequisite for action. It's a byproduct. You don't feel ready and then do the thing. You do the thing and then feel ready. The entire model you're operating from is backwards, and that's why you're stuck. This video will dismantle the dangerous myth that's keeping you paralyzed, the belief that you need to feel ready before taking action. Most advice tells you to prepare more, plan better, build more confidence, but the truth is that readiness is a trap. It's a feeling your nervous system will never give you for unfamiliar territory, because it's wired to keep you safe, not fulfilled. We're going to expose why waiting for readiness guarantees stagnation, how successful people reinterpret fear as fuel rather than a stop sign, and the exact mindset shift that turns terror into momentum. This isn't about being reckless, it's about understanding that action creates readiness, not the other way around. Let me paint you a picture that's going to make this crystal clear. Imagine a kid standing at the edge of a swimming pool. This kid has never been in the water before, never swum, never even put their face under, and they're standing there looking at this pool, and they want to swim. They really want to swim. They watch other kids splashing around having fun, moving through the water with ease, and they think to themselves, I want to do that, but I'm not ready yet. So what does this kid do? They go to the library. They check out books about swimming. They read about proper technique, about breathing patterns, about how to kick efficiently. They watch YouTube videos, hours and hours of professional swimmers demonstrating perfect form. They study the mechanics. They learn the theory. They understand intellectually exactly what needs to happen to move through water. And they think, okay, now I'm getting closer to ready. But not quite yet. Let me learn more. Months go by, maybe years. This kid becomes an expert on swimming. They can tell you about different strokes, about the physics of buoyancy, about Olympic training methods. They know everything there is to know about swimming. Everything except one thing: they still can't swim. Because here's what they didn't realize. No amount of preparation will ever make you feel ready to get in the water. You can read 1,000 books about swimming, and the moment you stand at that pool's edge, you'll still be terrified. Your body will still be screaming, you're not ready for this. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to sink. And this is exactly what you're doing with your life right now. You're standing at the edge of the pool, reading books about swimming. You're waiting to feel ready. You're waiting for that magical moment when all the fear disappears, when you feel completely confident, when you just know you can do it. But that moment is never coming. Not ever. Because readiness doesn't come from preparation. It comes from immersion. The only way that kid learns to swim is by getting in the water. Period. They don't need to feel ready. They need to get wet. They need to feel the water against their skin. They need to sink a little, panic a little, flail a little. They need to actually experience what it's like to try to move through water. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's scary. Yes, they'll probably swallow some water and cough and feel like they're drowning. But that's how you learn. That's how your body figures it out. Not through studying, through doing. I remember my first big seminar. I'd been preparing for years. Years. I'd studied every great speaker. I'd practiced in my living room. I'd recorded myself and watched the footage back. I'd written and rewritten my content. I knew my material backwards and forwards, and the day finally came. The day I was supposed to walk on stage in front of thousands of people. And you know what I felt? Absolute terror. Not readiness, not confidence, terror. Because all that preparation, it didn't make me feel ready. It couldn't. Because there's no amount of preparation that makes you feel ready for something you've never done before. And I remember standing backstage thinking, I'm not ready for this. I need more time. Maybe I should postpone. Maybe I'm not meant to do this. And then I realized something that changed everything for me. I realized I was waiting for a feeling that doesn't exist. I was waiting for the sense of complete confidence, total certainty, zero fear. And that feeling, it's not real. It's a fantasy. It's what you imagine confident people feel, but they don't. Everyone feels scared before doing something that matters. The difference is some people move anyway. So I walked on that stage absolutely terrified. My hands were shaking, my voice was shaking. I probably looked like a mess. But I did it. And you know what happened? About 5 minutes in, something shifted. My body started to relax, my voice steadied. I found my rhythm. Not because I suddenly felt ready, but because I was doing it. My nervous system was getting real-time feedback. Oh, we're not dying. We're actually okay. People are responding. This is working. And that feedback, that only comes from action. You cannot get it from preparation. By the end of that first seminar, I still wasn't an expert. I still made mistakes. But I was different. I had become someone who'd done it. And that's readiness. Readiness is retroactive. It's the story you tell yourself after the fact. It's looking back and saying, I guess I was ready. But you never feel it beforehand. Now, let me show you what's really happening when you're waiting to feel ready, because this is crucial. You're not just waiting, you're holding your dreams hostage. And the ransom you're demanding is a feeling called readiness. You're telling your dreams, your goals, your potential, I'll let you live. I'll let you happen. But first, you have to pay the ransom. First, I need to feel confident. First, I need to feel certain. First, I need to feel ready. And you're waiting. And your dreams are sitting there in this hostage situation year after year, slowly suffocating, slowly dying, while you wait for this ransom that never arrives. Think about it. How long have you been waiting to start that business? How long have you been waiting to write that book? How long have you been waiting to have that conversation? How long have you been waiting to make that move? And what's your reason? I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I need more experience. I need more confidence. I need to feel ready. But that feeling never comes. The ransom never gets paid. And meanwhile, your dreams are wasting away in captivity. And here's what's even more heartbreaking. While you're waiting, you start to identify as the person who's preparing. You become the person who's always getting ready, always about to start, always on the verge. And that becomes your identity. That becomes your comfort zone. Because as long as you're preparing, you can't fail. As long as you're not ready yet, you don't have to face the risk. You don't have to face the possibility of rejection or disappointment or falling short. You get to stay safe in the land of potential, the land of someday, the land of I would have been great if only I'd felt ready. I see this all the time. People with incredible talent, incredible ideas, incredible potential, who never do anything with it because they're waiting to feel ready. The book that's been almost finished for 5 years. The business plan that's sitting in a drawer, gathering dust, waiting for the perfect time. The relationship conversation that never happens because they're not ready to have it yet. The dream that's been on hold for a decade because they don't feel confident enough, skilled enough, prepared enough. And every year that passes, the dream gets smaller. The possibility gets dimmer. The window gets narrower. Not because it's actually too late, but because you start believing your own story. You start believing that maybe you're just not the kind of person who does big things. Maybe you're just not meant for that. Maybe it's better to play it safe. And that belief? That's not truth. That's just the story you tell yourself to justify staying in the land of preparation forever. I held a dream hostage for 3 years once. 3 years. I had this vision of creating a particular program, reaching a particular audience, having a particular impact. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do, but I didn't feel ready. I told myself I needed more expertise. I needed more credentials. I needed more proof that I was qualified. So I waited, I prepared, I studied, I planned, and the whole time, this dream was sitting there, waiting for me to feel ready enough to bring it to life. And then one day I was talking to a mentor, and I was explaining why I hadn't started yet. All my very logical, very reasonable reasons. And he looked at me and said, Tony, you're not waiting for readiness. You're negotiating with yourself. And you're using a currency that doesn't exist. You're trying to pay for permission with a feeling you'll never have. And that hit me like a truck. Because he was right. I was negotiating. I was bargaining. I was telling myself, if I just prepare a little more, if I just learn a little more, Then I'll feel ready. Then I'll be confident enough. Then I'll be worthy enough. But it was never going to happen. That feeling was never going to arrive. Because my nervous system, your nervous system, everyone's nervous system, is designed to keep you safe. Not fulfilled, not expressed, not actualized. Safe. And safe means familiar. Safe means what you already know. So when you're about to do something new, something challenging, something that actually matters, your nervous system is going to send you every signal in its arsenal to stop you. And one of the most effective signals, you're not ready. This isn't safe. Stay where you are. And if you wait for that signal to change, if you wait for your nervous system to give you the green light, you will wait forever. Because it won't. It can't. It's not designed to encourage risk. It's designed to avoid it. So the only way forward is to move anyway, to reinterpret the signal, to understand that when your body is screaming you're not ready, what it actually means is this matters. This is significant. This could change you. And that's exactly why you need to do it. So here's what's actually happening in your brain when you're waiting for ready. Your prefrontal cortex, the thinking, planning, analyzing part of your brain, is looking for certainty. It wants to know the outcome before you start. It wants guarantees. And when it can't find them, it keeps you in analysis mode. Just keep thinking. Just keep planning. Just keep preparing. Because as long as you're in that mode, you feel like you're doing something productive. You feel like you're making progress. But you're not. You're just spinning. And your amygdala, the part of your brain that scans for threats, is flagging everything new as dangerous. New job, danger. New relationship, danger. New city, danger. Public speaking, danger. Starting a business, danger. It doesn't matter that these things are good for you. It doesn't matter that they're opportunities for growth. Your amygdala doesn't care about growth. It cares about survival. And survival means stay with what you know. So these two parts of your brain team up to keep you stuck. Your prefrontal cortex says, we don't have enough information yet. We need more certainty. And your amygdala says, this feels dangerous. Let's not do this. And together they create this overwhelming sense of, I'm not ready. And you believe it. Because why wouldn't you? It feels true. It feels real. Your entire nervous system is telling you the same story. But here's what you need to understand. That feeling is not information about your capability. It's information about your familiarity. That's it. You don't feel ready because it's new, because it's unfamiliar, because you haven't done it before. But that has nothing to do with whether you can do it. Nothing. Every single person who's ever done anything significant felt exactly the same way before they started. They just moved anyway. So what do? How do you actually move without feeling ready? Here's what works. First, you stop asking the wrong question. Stop asking, am I ready? Because the answer will always be no. Always. Instead, ask, am I ready enough? Am I ready enough for the next step? Not the whole journey, not the final outcome, just the next step. Do I have the minimum viable capability to take one step forward? And the answer to that is almost always yes. You want to start a business? You don't need to be ready to run $1 million company. You just need to be ready enough to register the LLC. You want to write a book? You don't need to be ready to publish a bestseller. You just need to be ready enough to write one page. You want to have a difficult conversation? You don't need to be ready to resolve everything. You just need to be ready enough to say, we need to talk. One step, that's all. Ready enough for one step. And here's the second thing, the 5-second rule. This is critical. When you feel the impulse to do something that scares you, you have about 5 seconds before your brain talks you out of it. 5 seconds before all the reasons why you shouldn't, all the fears, all the what-ifs come flooding in. So you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you move. You don't think. You don't analyze. You just go. You make the call. You send the email. You walk up to the person. You hit publish. Whatever it is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. This bypasses your prefrontal cortex. It bypasses the overthinking. It activates your motor cortex and gets your body moving before your mind can stop you. And once you're moving, once you're in action, your nervous system starts getting different information, and that changes everything. And the third practice, every single day, do one thing you don't feel ready for. One thing. Has to be small enough that you can't rationalize out of it, but significant enough that it scares you a little. Send the email you've been drafting for weeks. Post the content you've been holding back. Make the call you've been avoiding. Have the conversation you've been postponing. One thing, every day. And what you're doing is training your nervous system. You're teaching it that not ready doesn't mean not possible. You're building evidence that you can do hard things even when you're scared, even when you don't feel prepared, even when every cell in your body is screaming, wait, not yet, you're not ready. And over time, something incredible happens. Your tolerance for discomfort expands. The gap between the impulse and the action gets smaller. The voice that says you're not ready gets quieter. Not because you feel more confident, but because you stop letting that feeling be the deciding factor. You stop negotiating with it. You stop waiting for it to change. You just move again and again and again, and that becomes your new normal. Here's what I need you to understand as we bring this home. You're never going to feel ready. Not for the things that matter. Not for the things that will actually change your life. Your nervous system will never give you that feeling because it's biologically designed to resist unfamiliarity. It's doing its job. It's trying to keep you safe. And if you wait for it to give you permission, if you wait for it to tell you you're ready, you will wait forever. But here's the beautiful part. You don't need it. You never did. Look at your life. Look at everything you've accomplished, everything you've survived, everything you've overcome. Did you feel ready for any of it? No. You just did it anyway. You figured it out. You adapted. You grew. You became the person who could handle it. Not because you were prepared, but because you moved. Because you took action even when you were terrified, even when you had no idea what you were doing, even when every part of you was screaming that you weren't ready. That's who you actually are. Not the person waiting to feel ready, but the person who moves anyway. The person who feels the fear and does it scared. The person who takes the step even when the ground feels shaky. That's your truth. That's your nature. You've just forgotten. You've gotten caught up in this story that you need to feel a certain way before you can act. But you don't. You never did. The readiness you're chasing is on the other side of the action you're avoiding. It's waiting for you there, not here. Not in more planning, more preparation, more perfect timing. There, in the doing, in the messy, uncomfortable, terrifying doing. That's where readiness lives. That's where confidence is built. That's where you become the person you're trying to prepare to be. So here's your new truth. Say it with me right now. I don't need to feel ready, I just need to move. Readiness isn't my starting point, it's my destination. I become capable through action, not contemplation. I am ready enough right now for the next step. Say it again. I don't need to feel ready, I just need to move. Readiness isn't my starting point, it's my destination. I become capable through action, not contemplation. I am ready enough right now for the next step. If this landed for you, if something shifted, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one thing you're going to do today without feeling ready? Name it. Make it public. Let this community be witness to your courage, because naming it makes it real. And being witnessed makes it powerful. And if you want more content that doesn't just make you feel inspired, but actually gives you the tools to move through fear and create the life you want, hit that subscribe button. Not for me, for you. Because you deserve to be surrounded by truth that sets you free instead of advice that keeps you comfortable. You'll never feel ready. Not really. Not the way you think you will. But you don't need to. You just need to take the next step, and then the next one, and then the next one. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize you did the whole thing without ever feeling ready. You just felt scared. And you moved anyway. And that's not just courage. That's wisdom. That's power. That's how extraordinary things happen. So stop waiting. Stop preparing. Stop negotiating with yourself for a feeling that will never come. Just move. Do the thing you've been avoiding. Have the conversation. Make the call. Take the step. Not because you're ready, but because you're done waiting. Because your life is happening right now. and it's too precious to spend standing at the edge of the pool reading books about swimming. Get in the water. You'll figure it out. You always do.